They called him mad. They mocked his torn clothes and his wild, fearless laughter. But what if the man everyone laughed at was the only one who saw the truth clearly? Long before this generation was born, before the elders grew old and the children were named, there existed a kingdom called Amanzi. Amanzi was a blessed land. 2 rivers embraced it from east and west, as though the ancestors themselves were guarding it. The soil was dark and generous. The forest whispered secrets older than memory. The markets never slept. At dawn, smoke rose gently from cooking fires. At dusk, drums spoke to the stars. Yet despite all its beauty, Amanzi carried a silent burden. Its throne was ruled by a woman, and not everyone was pleased. Queen Nalia did not rise through war, nor through hunger for power. She rose through loss. Her father, King Zuberi, fell ill without warning. The strongest voice in the kingdom grew weak within days. For 7 days and 7 nights, the drums of mourning echoed across Amanzi. The land wept. The people feared the future. Nalia was young, too young, some whispered. She is wise, but wisdom does not stop enemies. On the day she was crowned, elders watched her carefully. Warriors tightened their grips on spears. Priests murmured prayers, unsure of what the ancestors would say. When the crown touched her head, it felt heavier than gold. Not because of its weight, but because of expectations. Despite the doubts, Queen Nalia ruled well. She listened more than she spoke. She judged with fairness, not anger. She fed the hungry before building monuments. Under her rule, farmers prospered, thieves feared justice, widows were protected. The people praised her, but praise never travels alone. Court advisor: she rules well, but for how long alone? Another advisor: a throne without a king is a throne exposed. One night, as the moon rested fully in the sky, a thought rose in her mind like a whisper from the ancestors. What if the man I seek does not look like a king? What if love wore no crown? What if wisdom hid behind rough edges? What if truth did not bow? For the first time in many moons, her heart felt awake. By morning, her decision was made. The queen was about to make a decree that would shake Amanzi to its roots, and unknowingly lead her straight to the man the world called mad. One day, the queen went to the marketplace that day, not as a spy, not in disguise, but as herself. And the man everyone called mad would look directly into the eyes of power and feel no fear. The marketplace of Amanzi was alive. Voices rose and fell, goats bleated, metal clashed, spices perfumed the air. Then, silence. It spread like a shadow. Traders froze mid-sentence. Women pulled children closer. Men bowed low. For Queen Nalia had arrived. She walked openly, her crown upon her head, guards following at a respectful distance. This was not customary. A queen did not walk among dust and sweat. A queen did not mix with common voices. Why would she come here herself? Something is changing. Then it came. Laughter. Loud, uncontrolled, unashamed. It cut through the silence like a blade. People turned sharply towards the Oroko tree at the edge of the marketplace. There he sat, wild hair tangled like dry grass, bare feet cracked by dust and sun, clothes torn, stained, forgotten by time. The madman. Madness laughs even before the queen, but Queen Nalia did not turn away. She walked toward him. "My queen, keep your distance." She raised a hand. The laughter stopped. The madman looked up. For the first time, the marketplace saw his eyes clearly. They were not empty, they were sharp. So, the heavy crown walks among dust today. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Watch your tongue. Truth has no tongue to watch. Queen Nalia studied him, not offended, not angry, interested. They call you mad. They call the rain foolish until it feeds them. Why do you laugh when people mock you? They laugh to forget their chains. I laugh because I see them. The queen's breath caught. Why does the queen waste her time on madness? Why do you bow to crowns but throw stones at wisdom? The crowd fell silent. If you stood before power, what would you ask of it? I would ask if it sleeps well at night. The entire marketplace seemed to stop breathing. Beware those who kneel too easily. They rise with knives. Mad words. But Queen Nalia felt a chill. Queen of Amanzi, do not confuse noise for loyalty or silence for peace. The queen returned to her palace with dust on her sandals and questions in her heart, and the madman returned to his tree, having shaken a throne without ever standing. She had returned to her palace, her crown heavy, her heart restless. The marketplace was alive with stories of her visit, but her mind was not on whispers or praise. It was on him, the man they called mad. The palace was silent. Torches flickered against stone walls, casting long shadows across empty halls. Queen Nalia walked alone to the balcony. She gazed at Amanzi beneath the moon, its rivers silver ribbons in the night. Her thoughts returned to the man with wild hair, bare feet, and eyes that cut through power. Queen Nalia, whispering to herself, "Why do I remember him so clearly when the kingdom fades behind me?" Advisor, cautious. "My queen, thoughts of a madman are dangerous. He is not for his throne." Queen Nalia, firm, almost laughing. "Perhaps the throne is not for him, but he is for my heart." Her mind replayed every moment, the way he laughed at the crowd, how he looked at her, not at her crown, how he answered truthfully when all others lied. Narrator. For the first time, she realized that no one in Amanzi had ever seen her as she truly was, except him. No guards, no advisors, no gold or power, only truth. She paced the balcony, her robes swaying with the night wind. Queen Nalia, soft, shaking. Am I drawn to madness or to honesty? Am I foolish for thinking he could ever see me more than a queen? Queen Nalia, quieter. No, he sees me. He sees me and everyone else is blind. That night, she dreamed. The palace walls dissolved. She walked barefoot into the marketplace. The madman sat beneath the old Iroko tree. Madman, dreamlike, calm. Queen of Amanzi, do you seek truth or do you fear it? Queen Nalia, hesitant. I don't know. I cannot stop thinking of you. Madman, leaning forward, mysterious. Perhaps it is not thinking, but remembering what you have always known. She woke with her heart racing. The dream lingered like smoke. Elder, stern, anxious. My queen, why linger on him? He is a fool, a commoner, a shadow in the dust. Priest, cautious. Your heart must not lead Amanzi astray. Queen Nalia, calm, resolute. And what if my heart is the only part of Amanzi that sees clearly? A silence fell. The advisers did not know what to say. Even the elders felt the weight of her words. That evening, she returned to the balcony. Moonlight glinted off her crown, but her mind was elsewhere. Narrator. She knew something had changed. The madman was no longer just a figure in the marketplace. He had entered her mind, her heart, her destiny, and she would not stop until she understood him. Queen Nalia, whispering to herself, I must see him again, not in disguise, not in doubt, but as the queen I am, and the woman who will not forget him. Narrator, slow, suspenseful. Queen Nalia could not forget him, and the madman was waiting under the old Iroko tree. The winds whispered across Amanzi. Some truths are dangerous, some hearts are unstoppable. Drums rise, fade slowly. The sun rose over the palace. Birds were singing. People across Amanzi began their day. But Queen Nalia had been awake for a long time. She sat on her bed, holding her chest. I am not afraid. She stood up and looked at her crown on the table. For the first time, it did not frighten her. That was the moment she knew what she had to do. Queen Nalia called for the palace messengers. They hurried in and knelt before her. Go everywhere in Amanzi, to the villages, the markets, and the farms. The messengers listened carefully. My queen, what should we tell the people? Queen Nalia took a deep breath. Tell them this. On the next full moon, all men should come to the palace. I will choose a king. The advisers were shocked. My queen, this is too sudden. I have waited long enough, the queen replied. Many men will come because of power, and that is how I will know who to trust. The advisor said nothing more. Everyone knew the queen had made her decision. Drums carried the message far and wide. Men smiled. Men bragged. Men began to imagine themselves as king. Some men thought about gold. Some thought about power. Some thought about ruling people. But one man heard the message differently. Under the old Iroko tree, the madman sat, smiling to himself. The queen is looking for a king. Why are you smiling like this? You don't even have shoes. The madman laughed softly. My child, a true king does not need shoes to walk his path. So, will you go to the palace? She already knows me. That night, Queen Nalia stood on her balcony. She watched the moon shine over Amanzi. Let them come wearing fine clothes. Let them speak plenty big words. I will listen with my heart. And when he comes, I will know him. The message had gone out. Men were already on their way. Some came with pride, some came with lies, some came with big dreams, and somewhere under a big tree, a man everyone laughed at was walking toward his destiny. The full moon shone brightly over Amanzi. Drums beat slowly. The palace gates stood wide open. This was not an ordinary day. This was the day a king would be chosen. From morning till noon, men arrived in great numbers. The palace courtyard filled up quickly. Princes came dressed in shining clothes. Chiefs walked proudly with gold staffs. Warriors beat their chests and showed their scars. Everyone wanted to be seen. Everyone wanted to look important. Men smiled at one another, but their smiles were not friendly. They whispered. They looked each other up and down. In their hearts, they were already fighting. One by one, the men were called forward. They bowed and spoke sweet words. I love the people, one man said. I will protect Amanzi, another promised. But as they spoke, their eyes kept moving to the throne. Queen Nalia watched quietly. She did not interrupt them. She was listening with her heart. These men love the crown, but not the people, she thought. The crowd began to murmur. Some nodded, some shook their heads. Slowly, people began to see the truth. Big words did not mean a good heart. Then, suddenly, a strange silence fell. At the palace gate stood a man. He wore no fine clothes. He carried no gold. It was the madman. People gasped. Some laughed loudly. What is he doing here? Does madness also want to be king? The madman did not argue. He walked calmly into the crowd. From her seat, Queen Nalia felt her heart beat faster. He has come, she whispered. But she did not smile. She did not speak, but her eyes followed him. Because among all the men chasing the crown, only one man had never wanted it. The madman stood quietly inside the crowd. People laughed. Some people shook their heads. Queen Nalia looked at all the men standing before her. Then she stood up. All of you should leave, the queen said. The men were shocked. Some of them protested. Some were angry. But you, she said, looking straight at the madman, stay. 2 days passed. The palace remained quiet. Then, one morning, drums began to sound across Amanzi. Boom, boom, boom. The message spread from one village to another. The queen has married the madman. People stopped walking. Some people dropped their baskets. Some people gasped. Nobody could believe it. But it was true.